Hey guys, Duane here. It's time for the answers portion of our question and answers video for 2021. I received about 60 questions, so I'm going to do the answer video in two parts. This is part one. I will answer about 30 questions, and I will answer the remainder of the questions in a future video and call it part two. Okay, let's get right to it. First, I have some questions that my brother emailed to me. My brother's name is Ken, and he asked me a lot of deep questions. So here we go. Question number one. Do you think we are the only planet with life in the galaxy or the universe? No. I think there are billions of planets, and I just can't believe that Earth is the only planet with life. I think there is more life out there, but that's just me. Where do you think all the life on Earth came from originally? From God, evolution, or extraterrestrials? I don't want to get into a whole religious thing, but I think, I don't know, and I don't think we will ever know. Everybody has their own beliefs, and I'm not really firm on any one belief, okay? Because I don't know. I don't have enough data. My favorite theory is that all these life forms, the humans, the animals, were put here on Earth as some kind of giant biological experiment, okay? That's my favorite theory. I can't tell you I believe it. I mean, maybe. But I don't firmly believe everything in the Bible. And evolution, I think there's some evolution, but I don't think all these different species crawled out of the ocean as an amoeba billions of years ago. Okay. I don't know. Do you think the universe has a beginning or an ending? Again, I don't know. I'm going to say no. I think the universe has always been here, and it will continue to always be here. There you go. Do you believe in Noah's Ark and the flood? Okay, again, I don't want to get into a religious thing. If you believe the Bible is the Word of God and every word in the Bible is absolute truth, I respect that. Okay, I'm not poo-pooing on anybody's beliefs, but I don't believe the story of Noah's Ark and a lot of the other Bible stories. I just can't wrap my head around it. I just can't believe Noah's Ark, for instance. That was the question. That was my brother's question. I can't believe Noah lived 900 years, built a giant ship out of wood, and filled it with animals, and then the entire surface of the planet was covered in water. I just don't buy it. But that's me, okay? What do you think about the Roswell crash in 1947? Ours, theirs, or ET's? Okay. Something crashed in Roswell, New Mexico in 1947, and the government quickly got rid of all the evidence, covered it up, and there have been all sorts of theories and conspiracies, and who knows, honestly, but no, I don't believe it was extraterrestrials. I believe the Germans maybe had that technology at that time in 1947, but most likely I think it was a U.S. experimental flight gone wrong, and it was all top secret because it was military, and yeah, that's what I think it was. Do you expect the collapse of civilization either by natural or man-made events in your lifetime? No, I don't. Do you like solar power? Yes. I like the idea, but the initial investment is huge, in my opinion. And the payback, years and years to get to a payback to a point where you're actually ahead of, like if you ran your house with solar power, yeah, it's not worth it to me. Do you like cold fusion, 0 point over unity, quantum energy? I don't know what any of those are. I'm sorry. I'm still reading questions from my brother. Okay. Have you heard of Earthship houses? Yes, I have. I've seen pictures of them, and they are just too hippy dippy for me. Not my thing. I prefer modern, square buildings, glass and steel. Yeah, that's more my thing. If you could afford to live anywhere in the world, where would you choose? I would live on a cruise ship. If I could, I would just cruise for the rest of my life. If money was no issue, yeah, you have everything you need. You're on a big boat the size of a city block. You have entertainment, swimming, exercise room. You have all the food and drink you could ever want. You have medical. I think that would be awesome. If you could have any car on Earth, which one would you choose? That would be some type of Tesla. I'm not familiar with all the models. But if somebody was going to give me a free car, it would be an electric Tesla car. And yeah, having to never buy gas again would be awesome. Okay, last question from Brother Ken. Would you like to be a millionaire or a billionaire? Yes. If that's an either or, of course I'd rather be a billionaire. There are so many people I could help, and also pet rescue organizations, and yeah, I would be giving away money like a madman. If I was a millionaire, if I had $1 million, I would be way more careful with my money because I would want it to last the rest of my life. So there you go. Okay. Now I have a few questions from Weapon Collector. What's the furthest you've ridden on a bike, either pedal or electric? The farthest I've ridden on a pedal bike is only about 20 miles. And the farthest I've ridden on an electric bike was about 35 miles. What's the cool thing you ever found on a bike ride? The coolest thing I ever found was this ninja sword. I found this in, it was like a rental house clean-out pile of stuff by the side of the road. And I was riding my scooter when I found it. So I stopped and looked and like, oh wow, I gotta have that. So I put it in my belt and I rode home on my scooter with a samurai sword. How badass was that? What's the weirdest thing that ever happened on a bike ride? I have a couple stories, and at least one of them I have told previously. I went down this residential street. There were houses on both sides. There was a woman sitting in the street, and there was a man standing there. And I'm like, whoa. So I stopped, and I said, are you all right? Do you need anything? Or do you need any help? And the guy says, yeah. Do you have a cigarette? And I'm like, well, dude, your woman is sitting on the street and you're asking for a cigarette? What the hell? So I'm like talking to the woman, are you okay? Do you need me to call anybody? And she said, it's none of your business. I'm like, excuse me. And I just left. In hindsight, I wish I would have called the police, because there was something going on there. Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, another story. I was riding down a small 2-lane highway. I was riding my motorcycle, and I don't have it anymore. But anyway, and I went by and saw a snake crossing the road, and I didn't hit it, but I thought, I should help him. So I turned around and I went back. I parked my motorcycle on the side of the road, and I went to pick up the snake, but he was like, he was not having it. So I'm like shooing him, trying to get him to hurry to cross the road. In the meantime, cars are coming and they're stopping because there's this guy in a leather jacket and a motorcycle helmet doing something with the snake. I finally was able to pick him up, and I carried him to the side of the road, and about 10 feet off of the road, I put him in the sand, and he went on his merry way. I'm sure some of those people who stopped to watch are still telling that story. Last question from Weapon Collector. What was your favorite bike that you ever owned? I'll show you a picture of it here. This is a Whitcomb USA. The Whitcomb name actually came from England. They made bikes over there in the 1970s. And at one point they opened not a factory but a shop in Connecticut in the United States and called it Whitcomb USA. And they assembled bikes. They got the parts from the Whitcomb factory in England, and they sent them to the US and assembled these bikes. And they were in such high demand, actually everybody was selling a lot of bikes back then, and they were not able to keep up with the demand. But anyway, this bike, in its original form with the drop-down handlebars and so on, my friend Mike ordered it. I don't know if it was out of a catalog or what, because there was no internet back then. But he ordered this bike with all the accessories and so on that he wanted, and he rode it every day for 2 years until the wheels literally fell apart. And so he kept it for years, and he moved several times throughout the years, and he took this broken bike with him every time because he loved it. He planned on restoring it someday, but he never did. And one day I was telling him that I was thinking about buying a vintage 10-speed bike, and he said, I have one and you can have it. So he gave it to me. I had to buy wheels and tires and a few other parts, but yeah, I like how it turned out. I really like this bike. it's a pleasure to ride. So there you go. Next question is from Epstein did not kill himself. There is only two genders. Okay. I guess your name is self-explanatory. Anyway, he asked, what's your favorite experience in the Marines? My favorite experience was the weapons training. I loved shooting the M16. I loved throwing grenades, shooting the 203 grenade launcher, shooting the Laws rocket. I loved all that. That's why I joined. Next question. Sakti Pernano just says, love it. Thanks, man. Dillinger022, my friend Eric, asked, what has been your favorite decade that you have lived through and why? I'm going to go with the 1980s. Okay, I graduated high school in 1980. I didn't really care for school. I was anxious to get on with my life. And I did. And so the 1980s, I was working. I had my own apartment. I had a Firebird, Pontiac Firebird. Yeah. that I bought with my own money. I mean, my parents never bought me a car. Okay, so yeah, I was living the dream. That's that's what I had been preparing for. I really liked the 1980s. Okay, Eric had another question. What was your favorite vehicle? My favorite vehicle was a 1996 Nissan Maxima. All black, SE version with a rear spoiler, mag wheels. Really, really nice car. Such a pleasure to drive. I drove it from Washington State to Florida and back. I just love that car so much. But at 160,000 miles, it started having problems. It started needing repairs, and I thought, yeah, I should probably trade it in and get something newer. So I did, and that was a mistake. I always regretted that. And then a few years later, I bought a 2000 Nissan Maxima, also black, not the SE version. It's a GLE or GLX, but I love it. It's comfortable, it's reliable, it's really good quality, and it's paid for. I don't do car payments. Next question from Orlando Olusina. Can you floss dance? No, man. I don't have that kind of coordination. Also from Orlando, who is your favorite character from your choice of shows? I would have to say Leroy Jethro Gibbs from NCIS, played by Mark Harmon, is a no-nonsense investigator and very smart, always does the right thing. I would have to say he's my favorite character. Also from Orlando, if you could have one superpower, what would it be? Oh, man. I don't know. I've had dreams where I was flying. That was really cool. I've also had dreams where I was invisible. I don't know how you turn it on and off, but because I wouldn't want to be invisible forever. But yeah, that would be cool. So one of those. Next question from Bob942. What was your MOS in the Marine Corps? MOS stands for Military Occupational Specialty. Basically, what was your job? My MOS was designation 0311. I was an infantry rifleman. I was in the infantry in the Marines. There are a lot of jobs in the military. I went with infantry because because I like shooting, and I was very good at it. I was an expert, rifle expert. So there you go. Snoopjet. Excuse me. Snoopjet has 3 questions. Where did you grow up? I grew up in Washington State, USA. Washington is roughly divided in half. The half by the Pacific Ocean is very green, gets a lot of rain, and the other half, the eastern half, is very dry. It's mostly desert, and that's where I lived. And yeah, it would have been nice to have more of the green stuff, but I don't know. It is what it is. Would you consider posting videos talking about your life growing up, funny, interesting experiences? Yes, I will try and think of some stories that would be interesting for you guys. Question number 3 from Snoopjet. Have you ever been to Australia? No, I have not, but I would love to go. Maybe someday I will. Next set of questions from Kirim Tatari Mapping. Number 1, why did you start with YouTube? I started YouTube for something to do back in 2008, I believe. YouTube was pretty new, and I somehow found it and started watching people's videos, and I'm like, I could do that. So I got a webcam and I started doing it, and it's been a lot of fun. Kiram's next question. How do you sell well on eBay? I'm not sure I understand the question. If you want advice on selling on eBay, I suggest watching YouTube eBayer videos. There are a lot of people who do eBay part-time and full-time and make videos to tell you about it and to educate you. Watch all those videos and then just jump in and get started. One tip, the more inventory you have, the more sales you're going to have. Okay? If you just list a few things and don't do anything else, you're not going to make a lot of money. Okay? You've got to keep adding to your inventory, and people will buy. Okay? You get out of it what you put into it, basically. So there you go. Also from Kiram, what is your favorite hobby? Riding my bike. I got my first bike when I was 10 years old, and I just soared. I just could not believe the freedom and the feeling of almost like flying. And I could go anywhere in the city. And I still do. The city has changed a lot. I'm still in the same basic area where I grew up. And we have this vast bike trail, bike path system. I don't know, maybe 100 miles. More than 50 miles for sure. And so yeah, riding my bike, that is my number one hobby. I just love it so much. Last question from Kiram. What state are you from? Washington State. Next question is from Etonik. I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing these names right. Can you reactivate old comments on your older videos, specifically the video you made about the homemade weapons? I'm going to say no. When I deactivated comments, it was for a reason, and for that video, the homemade weapons video, that is my most popular video with more than 2 million views. If you haven't seen it, you should check it out. I made 2 weapons from scrap wood, showing you how easy it is to make weapons. And I used a knife, okay, because I always have a knife. I'm never not with a knife, okay. So I used a knife to make a shiv, a pointed stick, basically, and to shape the handle on a wooden club, okay? That's all it was. That was my easy homemade weapons video. So many comments were saying, why do you need to make a weapon when you have a knife? I'm like, oh. So I told people many times, I answered this question many times, the point of the video was to make a weapon, okay? So I finally disabled the comments because they were just stupid. So there you go. 56 Crown Vic. My friend Chuck has 2 questions. Will you make a video of a bike ride and show us your bike in detail? Yeah, Chuck, I've thought about that. I don't have a, what do you call it, a little portable camera. But yeah, that's in the back of my mind. I might do that someday. That's it. That's all the questions for this video. I still have more of your questions I will answer in a future video. And thank you for watching. Have a great day. Peace out.